Hello, good evening, and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers on the 26th of December. This is no transfer knowledge, but of course, Liverpool go and wreck my fucking St. Stephen's night, or Boxing Day night, whatever you want to call it. I was watching Back to the Future 3. My 10-year-old daughter was putting face masks on my face and mad black ear that you peel off, and I was having a lovely time. And then Cody Gakpo decides to go and, well, it looks like sign for Liverpool in the region of 50 million euros. Chris has jumped off other things he's been doing, so have I, and here we are. Chris, the chat is absolutely bouncing. I'm going to try to read out as many things as I can tonight while we go through this. There's loads of people watching, not enough people hitting the like button, but look, that's where we are. But Chris, this has genuinely come out of nowhere, and I mean that. Like, people might like the idea of Cody Gakpo, good player. You know, I think he was Dutch Player of the Year. He one of Holland's better players in the World Cup. But you kind of looked at it and went, it looks like he's nailed on to go to Manchester United. That's really what the feeling on him was. And now all of a sudden, Paul Joyce is reporting, and others. Some are reporting it, some are just jumping on that train. But it looks like even PSV have announced that he will leave Holland immediately to head to England to complete a deal with Liverpool. And it looks like 50 million euros. How do you feel before I read out loads of these comments?
This feels like Fabinho Mark II.
Even quieter than Fabinho, though.
Yeah, this feels very much like the Diaz deal, where he's apparently a summer target, and Liverpool bring it forward 6 months because the Premier League club shows interest. It's almost like United have done all the groundwork for us and got it done. I mean, I was like you. I assumed he was nailed on for United because all the indicators where he was. Once we take the mick out Fabrizio Romano, as of 11 hours ago, he was saying he hasn't changed his mind. It's all done and dusted. But from what I can see, I've just got the tweet up here. 9:56 today, PSV's official Twitter account was tweeted, PSV and Liverpool have reached an agreement on the proposed transfer of Cody Gakpo. The 23-year-old attacker will leave for England immediately, where he will be subject to the necessary formalities ahead of completion of the transfer.
Okay.
I mean, doesn't get sort of feels like short of leaning at the accent. I don't know what to do with accent.
I don't think they lean at the accent anymore. They just do loads of deadly kind of video shots, and it's all kind of put together.
Because that's the official one. But you know, when the club that's selling him is going, it's done.
Yeah,
it's pretty much done.
It's just a medical, isn't it? Really, like, you know what?
The fee doesn't sound too mad either, does it? That makes 37 million up front and 13 million in add-ons, which...
Yeah, but I think it came to 50 million euros, which is about 44 million pounds.
Which in the grand scheme of things, these days in football, that's kind of...
23.
It's kind of it's like the going rate, really, isn't it?
Yeah. If there's anyone in the chat has watched loads of Cody Gakpo, go ahead. I've watched him about a dozen times, mostly off the left-hand side. He did play false nine for Holland in the World Cup, which makes you think he could be an option as a 10 for Liverpool if they ever went back to that 4-2-3-1. Can play off the left. I've seen a few people that have said, another left-hand sided player, but really I have Diaz there. You'd add Gakpo, Carvalho's still young. People have shouted at Jota, but I think Jota is looking to play central for Liverpool.
I think that helps. I think that helps centralise Jota, because you're almost going to say to Jota now, when everyone's fit, Gakpo and Diaz fight for the left. Your job is to push Nunes out of being number 9.
Yeah.
And with his injury record, probably in a backup number 9, but it's probably he's always physically capable of at the moment because he's picking up far too many.
Yeah, but it's about like I always go back to it. It's about strength and depth, and is Gakpo able to play in various positions, including maybe off the right if you wanted? I don't know if he plays off the right or left for PSV, but he.
From what I read in transfer market, I think it's one of those he can play off the right, a bit like Diaz can play off the right.
Well, there you go. So,
but he's better. He's more suited to the left.
So it's very fluid in the fact that what Gakpo can do, Diaz can do. Salah right or central, Jota left, right or central. There's loads, and it's all like when you look at Liverpool's lineup today and you say that bench is a bit light. Do you know what I mean? You want to get to the stage where the bench never looks light, even if you have a couple of injuries, and this makes loads of sense. This transfer when you think about it, but makes no sense at the fact that it's coming out at 10 o'clock. Like for a little bit of a timeline on it, and not just on this, but yesterday it was Christmas Day and people were like, fuck Christmas, what's this embargoed news at 10:30? And I was there going, lads, they do this embargoed stuff the night before every single game. Why is it just because it lands on Christmas Day, is it going to be an issue? Klopp spoke about Bellingham and just said, he's exceptional, he's a great player. Van Dijk had a couple of quotes after the game today where you went, oh, that's interesting. And now this is broken, so Van Dijk probably knew something where, this is going to go tonight. And
if I'm honest though, it also makes you question some of the James Pearce stuff that came out, which was like FSG are looking for a backer to help power the Bellingham deal. Because if you're looking for a backer to get your big target done, why are you
spending 50 million on someone else?
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
But then you could argue
if money's that tight.
Yeah, but then you could argue that they're spending this €50 million, right, or £40 million, wherever way you want to put it, that they're not going to sign Jude Bellingham because they don't have enough money to sign him as well. So you can argue either way. And James Pearce is busy lashing Darwin Núñez on a daily basis, so he probably just missed this one. This one just probably passed him by. Let me read some stuff out. Kevin Ball says this is quicker than the Fabinho deal. Garmack is like a pig in shy. So there you go. That's a good one. Loving the fume from United fans too, says Megan. I haven't caught up with Manchester United fans on this, but I presume that yellow and green scarves. James Pearce said there would be a quiet January, putting articles saying how putting up articles saying we've scouted him for years. Look, let me say this again. Paul Joyce is the king. Okay, when Paul Joyce speaks, listen to him. Okay, there's loads of people out there that'll bounce 20 names at you across a 3-week period, running up to and including the January transfer window, or the same in the summer. One might hit, and oh great. Paul Joyce doesn't speak until he needs to. Just follow him, and you'll be absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
David Ornstein's very similar, actually.
Well, I'm not too much about Ornstein. I don't really like him. United fans would be spitting fire that they were convinced he was there. Says them. I was convinced he was going to Manchester United. Look, I've been speaking to Man United fans about if Gakpo signs, where would he play? Ronaldo leaves. Where does Gakpo come in and play that false nine for United? I was literally speaking to United fans on where you would get Cody Gakpo into their side, because I was convinced. Absolutely convinced he was going to Manchester United.
Núñez was a bit like this in the summer, which is possibly why they're a bit salty with Núñez now. They had the early chance on him, and they tried to hijack that one as well. United at the moment feel a little bit like Liverpool of the early 2000s. I mean, me joked about it before. It's like Willian. We had Willian almost through the door at Liverpool, and he still went to Chelsea.
He went to Chelsea. Wasn't that when Mourinho was in charge, and Mourinho was sitting there all smug, like, yeah, it's done, yeah, we have him.
Yeah, but what was really funny was he left Liverpool, was going to, I think he was at a treatment table in Tottenham to go sign for Tottenham, and then he fucked off to Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, he did two in 1 hit, which was hilarious. But it's a few times that happened to Liverpool. We hit the release clause to Diego Costa when he was prime Diego Costa, and the player went, "Nah, you're all right."
Cameron Clark says, "Does this mean that Diaz is out for the season?" No, I think Diaz, you're looking at late February, early March. But look. Barry says United Trey in the mud again. The trolls never learn. Is that the guy on Twitter, Trey? I think I have him blocked. Yeah. I've got to this stage where I'm just blocking loads of people because they talk shy. So there you go. This is world class trolling.
Guess I'm next then.
Chris Golding says this is world class trolling. Ten Hag has the same agent as Gakpo. United have been after him for months. Tears. How strange do you find that? Like, before we get into the deal and what we think and everything else, right? How strange do you find that it's like a very badly kept secret over Gakpo to United, right?
Yeah, it's a weird...
And we're literally just waiting for the 1st of January to come for Gakpo to sign for United. Even during the World Cup, it was like, you're watching him and thinking, what could he do for United?
Yeah.
I think it's so weird.
I remember watching watch along with Kev, watching Holland, and when we saw Gakpo score, we both went like, you can see how that would work for United, because they've got good delivery now from wide. I was thinking like Eriksen will find this guy, no problem. This looks a smart signing, and I've actually, to be fair, been quite praising of United, saying they actually now look like they're playing into a plan, and they're playing people in the right position. If they get behind the seam source, it shows that United will be a difficult side. So I wasn't expecting any of this. I think I was literally just watched the end of the Liverpool game, and I was just in the car getting in the car back from my dad's, and then it flashed up. Gakpo to Liverpool. I thought, this is just like a wind-up thing, and then I went, "Oh shit, I did the overused thing where you look at that's the real Paul Joyce, it's not the
yeah, because there's loads of dodgy Paul Joyce.
I've got a dodgy one notification, so it's definitely the real Paul Joyce.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Advanced stages. Even at advanced stage, I was going, yeah, but this could just to go United. Get a deal.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Ornstein came out with, Yeah, deal's nearly done. Medical's probably going to be tomorrow. I was thinking, like, I know you don't like David Unsley, but with David Unsley, I'm also a bit like, he's a little bit like Joyce in that he doesn't tweet that sort of stuff unless it's pretty close. So he's had like the real nod. Because basically, James Pearce doesn't really tweet anything like that now. He just retweets David Ornstein. And Neil.
I'll tell you what. I'm not going to get into an argument about David Ornstein with you.
I don't mind him.
Okay.
I know you don't like him. I don't mind him.
No.
The only one I don't mind, who, again, I don't think tweets a lot about transfers unless he thinks they're fairly secure, is Neil Jones. And to be fair to Neil Jones,
someone says there in the chat.
He also went hands up. Wow, that developed quicker than I thought.
Yeah, Tom Hart and others have said Neil Jones is reporting that the final fee, including add-ons, will be £44 million. So I think it's something like 32 up front with 12 million in add-ons in pounds. That's what it looks like. Jake with a super chat says, Gav, you need a section on Fat Frank losing last minute. I'm absolutely all over the fact that we will. Even though it's a transfer show, I'm 100% behind the fact that we can talk about Frank Lampard, and even more so behind talking about Brendan Rodgers and Leicester, if you want to. For the last
I literally watched the Leicester game, and he got to 3-0 and went, oh, fuck this, I'll put the Everton game on because this game's done. And the Everton game was berserk. Absolutely wild as a game.
But shit at the same time.
Oh, yeah. Absolute horrendous level of... But it was a game where I was going, this is going to be 1-1 or Everton going to nick this at the end. Because it just felt like Everton were going to score eventually.
Yeah, but he didn't.
It was glorious when they did.
D. Pierce says, get Gakpo in, get after Bellingham for the summer, but get it done in January and we are happy. Somebody says there, I get a feeling it might be Matt. He says, Gav does not rate any journal. I rate Paul Joyce for this sort of stuff. I like other journalists for writing stuff they write away from transfers. Just on transfer stuff, it's Paul Joyce for me. He's the only one I would go and look for with regards to he's the only person really I go to with regards to transfers, because he says very little. So when he says it, you're kind of going, well, he's not just banging it out there, and he's not throwing names at you. And in the hope he can go back and look in 6 months and go, I remember I said him. He just speaks when he needs to be spoken to. And it's very, very clear to me that Paul Joyce is the first man that's given the nod by Liverpool Football Club to, yeah, you're okay to go with that news. Let me see. Matt also says there'll be an intermission tonight for smokes, cans and Christmas butties. Anyone have a Christmas sandwich last night? Turkey, ham, stuffing, gravy.
No, I went out for Christmas dinner, so I didn't
mate,
like that in the house. So I've missed out. I've missed out this year, unfortunately.
Epic one last night. The butter and the bread wasn't amazing, but look, it's done. But about 10 o'clock last night, amazing sandwich. If you have had one, let us know what was on it and how it rated this Christmas as compared to others.
Someone just pointed out the other thing about Gakpo is he's 6'4".
Yeah, he's big. He's a unit.
So someone I was just saying, I think it's Kieran Thorne. He's tongue in cheek. He's talking about next year, but he's saying, like, look at corners next year. Canati, Van Dijk, Bellingham, Fabinho, Nunes, and Gakpo all going up for a corner. I mean, to be fair, you would think for Liverpool that as long as they hit one of them, which would be a good start. So gives you it's another option, isn't it? Which
Brian Murphy asks, is Gakpo cup tie for the Champions League? No.
They got rid of that rule.
They were in the Champions League this year.
No, they got knocked out in the qualifiers, but they got rid of that rule now.
Once you go by the groups,
yeah, you can play again.
You can play for anyone else. Yeah. And Chris Golding says, honestly, this is out of the blue as it comes, truly bonkers. Garmac had batch bread, turkey, ham, stuffing, cranberry sauce. Top score 10 out of 10. Cranberry sauce appalling on any sandwich. To be honest with you, if you don't do gravy, well. Let me see. Matt says, I knew he'd read that one out. Like shooting fish in a barrel. Gav loves a sandwich, just not egg mayo. Egg mayo is the most appalling substance on earth, as you all know.
I like an egg mayo, we'll see.
Look.
Just to upset.
Egg mayo is appalling. just on this, though, we're looking into January and beyond, and the talk around Bellingham and Enzo Fernandez, because I just want to say Martinez so much when I say his name. But we've seen
you got his name right last week, and you kept correcting yourself.
Oh, I know. It's mental. His name is Fernandez, and I just keep wanting to say Martinez. But we've seen the talk about those two. We've seen Kudos has popped up in the last couple of days.
That's who I thought we were going to go.
Well, I thought that made a lot. Now Gakpo, listen, it's all hindsight because Gakpo was nowhere in the picture. But Kudos did make it sound like it made sense.
He's a winger who can also play midfield.
Correct, and he can play up front. He can kind of. He's very flexible in what he can do.
Yeah, which I thought feels more Klopp. So
Yeah, because you could put him in and say, listen, you need to play down the left for 3 months here. And then you're going to end up playing down the middle, or we're going to put you into midfield, whatever. He just seems like one of those players that he looks a perfect match for Klopp to turn around and go, I'm going to mould him. I need him here for 3 months, but I'm going to mould him into something where he's going to be that. Do you know, the sort of way? It's absolutely mad. But we're going into this January, like I said, and we're going, we need a midfielder. We need a midfielder. And people that say that are absolutely right. Still do. Agreed. And you have the likes of Caicedo, you have Bellingham, you have Enzo Fernandez. And one of those three, I think maybe you can get done in January, which is Moses Caicedo. But then you see things like Liverpool made a €100 million bid for Enzo. And you're kind of going, could they do this? Like, Gakpo comes in. Do you think they could go and do a Fernandez as well?
My gut feeling still no. I still think until we get new owners, I don't think we will spend that level of bigness without moving someone on. But then again, you think Gakpo will come in. I still think we will add someone in January for the midfield. We need to, because you can't. The midfield three we play today are our three probably best midfielders, but they're all getting on. They're all injury prone, and then we brought on Naby Keita, which I'll be honest, he fucking did my head in when he came on today. Because all he did was blast a shot over and foul people who nigh and useless, I thought, today. But he's also come back from an injury, but so I have to give him some credit. But yeah, I still think we don't add a midfielder. I think we are still giving ourselves a bit more work to do. But Kev said, to be fair, Kev also said it from the summer. He felt we were one light in the wing, and after Jota went down injured, you went, yeah, we do feel one light. So I think we solved one problem that we should have solved in the summer, but I still think we need to add somebody. Whether it's Enzo Fernandez, I'll be surprised, but I won't complain if we do.
Arsenal for Life, had to give him a shout because he's here there all the time. He says it's lonely at the top. Good win tonight. Flying. 16 games in. I think you are now 22 to go.
Only two clubs have dropped it with that many points after 16 games, apparently.
Yeah, best of luck though. Liverpool aren't going to win the league, but I think I think Arsenal have a good chance. I think they're top of the league, but I think they're a little bit under the radar, and that may sound mad, right? But I think the more people are putting down Arsenal, the more chance they have. The pressure doesn't seem to be heaped on them. I think if Arsenal lose one week and City win, and City get it down to 2 points, and they're within striking distance, then the pressure will come on. But
I think when City get one of their runs, which you may have both unfortunately been on the right side and the wrong side of, it's fucking excruciating. Yeah. And if you're not used to it, I think Arsenal's lack of squad depth will eventually catch up with them.
I think City. I feel like City could go on. I don't even know if they're playing tomorrow or the next day. Leeds away. Yeah.
Who've got about 9 out injured. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think genuinely we could be sitting here in 10 games time where we got City have won 10 in a row, and Arsenal are going to have to win 8 of 10 just to stay level with them. That's how what City are. But you never know. But
you never know.
Let me see. I want to read this now. Spencer Joyce, just on the transfer stuff, he says we have to sell first. There's no foreign spaces left in the club for in the squad. Now, you might see someone leave.
Well, there was a rumour going around. I think it was the other day that Adrian might be getting binned off in January.
Okay, so you move
and you say Keller's number 2, and then you just have one of the kids on the bench if you ever need one. Which, to be fair, the only time a kid's going to be on the bench now is the FA Cup. Outside of that, it's always going to be Kelleher and Alisson. So Adrian might be the easy one to move on, to be honest.
Yeah, and I think there's still some rumour around Naby Keita, maybe it's something in January as well. Because if he's not going to sign a deal, or if the deal's not going to be offered, whatever way it works, you could see Liverpool going, listen, we're just going to take a nominal fee for him in January because we're looking to bring in Enzo Fernandez.
Or they say to someone like an Adrian, listen, if we can't get you a move, we'll just pay you off. Here's your contract off, and go that way.
Barry Devaney reckons Spencer Joyce is Paul Joyce's burner. Wow, yeah, great show. Great show. He absolutely could be. Red Steve says 306 in the chat, 108 likes, nearly 200 secret Mank fans or what? Hit the button, 110 likes, get it to 150 or whatever you want. But just on the signing itself, Chris, because He come in. Is this our? I don't want to say stopgap, but is this our player to go in there and say, right, he needs to cover for 2 to 3 months here, and then he
Yeah,
might go and put him somewhere else. But
I
is he
think
the
this.
is he the
I think
sort
it's
of
to.
player?
I think it's to do with Diaz a little bit.
Okay.
Joe, where Diaz was told to go in and just play. I wonder if there'd be a little bit of that with Gakpo. A little bit of like, look, lads, I'm going to stick him left wing. I'm going to tell him to do whatever he wants
Yeah.
until we get him in, and then because Klopp will go, it'll be the summer before I have to sort him out. So a bit like he did with Diaz, just go and play, do your own thing, and he'll probably just tell likes of Thiago, Robertson, look, you just got to cover for him. He's not going to track back. He's not going to be where you think he should be. So it's a little bit drop him in the deep end and see how he goes. But he's an experienced Dutch international, so and plus the fact he's got Virgil there will also help him.
Yeah.
Talking through things. So I think that's what he's in there for, just to give us something. Because at least then we don't have to play Nunes wide left anymore. We can play him through the middle, which takes a bit of pressure off him. Or even we could actually do a front three where Nunes can be on the bench, just to take a bit of pressure off him, or relax him a little bit.
Yeah.
I've seen a few chat say this could be bye-bye to Arthur Melo. I think James Pearce and Joyce came out saying Arthur Melo doesn't have a return clause in his contract, so he has to be here to the end of the season. Which, I'll be honest, that would be the only way Juventus would have agreed to the deal anyway.
Yeah.
So Arthur Melo's definitely staying. I mean,
but can you unregister him?
He could do. You have to still pay his wages, so you still got to pay
It looks a bit unlikely that they're going to unregister him if they're keeping hold of him. But the Adrian thing, Naby Keita thing,
I think Adrian's the most likely to unregister because I think your third choice keeper. If both keepers go down, it's bloody touch wood, but it's bloody unlucky.
Yeah, but Jake thinks Bobby is gone now. But the rumour over the last couple of days has been that Firmino has been offered a new deal to possibly 2024, if not with an option to 2025. So, look, maybe we should take them rumours with a pinch of salt as well.
If Firmino stays, just say Firmino stays and we keep the current attack that we've got, he's 5th, 6th choice. And I'll be honest, if he's happy to be 5th, 6th choice, it's not a bad 5th or 6th choice. He's just not. He shouldn't be a regular starter anymore. He shouldn't have been a regular starter this season, but needs must. So
yeah,
I think that's why they might offer him an extension.
But even at that, what we're doing is we're talking about here bringing in a midfielder, right? And to bring in a midfielder, you would need one of the overseas spots taken out. So maybe Adrian is that. Look,
unless it's a homegrown
midfielder, which
I don't know who that will be.
Well, Declan Rice is probably our only option there if you're looking to bring.
Yeah, it's not.
We're not doing Declan Rice.
I don't think so.
I can't get behind Declan Rice. I just can't, and that's not a thing because he played for Ireland and now he plays for England. I don't really fucking care. But I just watch him and I think sometimes he stands out as a really good player in an okay team. And then I look at him, I was so unimpressed with him in the World Cup. And I kind of looked at him and went, that's pressure when you're in the World Cup, where you're asked to man in midfield on your own as a deepest man rather than someone beside you. And that's what Liverpool asked you to do. And it just didn't look like I'm not saying he doesn't have the physicality to do it or the fitness to do it, doesn't move around enough, doesn't make enough angles. And I'm not saying Klopp couldn't do that for him, but I think the sort of money I'm looking on Declan Rice, I just don't see it. McAllister, isn't he homegrown, says Antio? Yes, I think he is. Yeah, he definitely would be. But I don't know if that happens. But, whether we do move somebody out in order to bring like an Enzo Fernandez in, Firmino isn't leaving in January.
No, if he's going to go, he's going in the summer. Same with Ox and Keita and Milner. That's where he... Actually, I've seen a few saying Liverpool need a bigger squad, but I think with Gakpo, I think we're now at our max. I think we're at the 25-man squad. So if we've got to move, it's not that we need more players. We need to
now you need to move things around in order to get them registered, yeah.
And that's been the big challenge for Liverpool probably the last 2-3 years is we probably haven't been able to move on the lads we wanted to move on to make space. It's not all been about money. It's been about making space.
But a fair assumption would be if you were to say you had Alisson, you had Kevin Kelleher, and then you said, right, Adrian's out and you bring that other young guy in that played a couple of pre-season games.
Davis.
Yeah, you're basically still as you are. You know what I mean? You're still as you are.
There was talk of Adrian going back to Celta Vigo, wasn't there, in the summer, and he never quite materialised. So if he can get a move back to Spain, I'm sure it'll be made up with that anyway.
Yeah, I'd love to know some United fans' reaction on it. No Man United fans watch this channel, There's a couple of Arsenal. There's a lot of Leicester.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Kevin Sullivan
Everton.
says Mason Mount talk went quiet for a bit, but the other option is do you send Curtis Jones out on loan to make a homegrown space? I mean, that's the other option.
Yeah, but that's making a homegrown space. To bring in Enzo Fernandez, you need to
Yeah,
make the space somewhere else. Um, I don't know what way it goes, but look, it's during January we're going to have more of these shows, aren't we? Where we not only just bring you the rumor and the different things and tell you what's being thrown out there and if it's good, bad, or indifferent, but we'll talk about what players we'd like to see and stuff like that. But as we always say, we know nothing with regards to transfers about to happen. We only speculate on whatever rumour might be out there, and then we react to solid information like we've got with Cody Gakpo tonight. So Cody Gakpo is on his way to Liverpool, or he's on his way to England to do a medical with Liverpool, which makes you think that if PSV have agreed a deal, Cody Gakpo has agreed a deal. This is just going to be a medical thing. Cody Gakpo would have had some sort of medical before he went to the World Cup to make sure he was all right anyway.
probably.
But if he gets signed tomorrow, the next day, he wouldn't see Leicester. I think it's Brentford away.
Yeah, he'd be rested. He should be rested in time for Brentford. Yeah. Well, we say that, but do you remember that nonsense with Mope at Everton, where they had him agreed before the transfer window opened, and because it was a bank holiday, the Premier League there was nobody in, so you have to wait after the bank holiday, and he couldn't play in the game, so he was sat there.
Oh, that was right. Yeah, that was right. Yeah,
and it's a bank holiday Monday, so it's do you know what? Knowing the FA, they want everybody in to register him, so it might be FA Cup before he makes his debut.
So we play this Thursday against Leicester, don't we? And then we play 31st, first.
Second.
Is it Thursday we play? It is Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, Thursday. Let me go back. Yeah, Thursday the 30th we play against Leicester, and then we play Brentford away on the 2nd, and then we've got Wolves.
Which is a Monday.
Yeah, which is a bank holiday. So it's whether they'll register them on the 1st, because they might all be still pissed from the New Year's Eve.
Yeah, but Matt says can't be registered until January. Yeah, correct. We can't be registered until January, but yeah, Chris could be right there, because if they're not registered until January, which would be the 2nd, they play on the 2nd. So he mightn't.
It's whether they'll let him. It's whether somebody will register him on the 1st.
Yeah,
which technically they should do, because the transfer window's bloody open from the 1st. So
well, that's true. That is true, but they'll probably allow you to do a deal on the 1st, but you won't get it registered in time for the 2nd. Let me see.
Sometimes they say it could be like Diaz when he made his debut in the FA Cup against Cardiff. Could be very well be that. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
So
Friday is the 30th. Sorry, a few people say that. I'm completely lost on what day is this.
Oh, I never know what day it is.
Over the place I am. I'm all over the place. But I'm still a little bit in shock at this. I really am, and I'm trying to think straight out where he'll play. And for me, he'll play left hand side. For now,
until Diaz is fit, yeah.
But could Klopp see him? And I'm just throwing it out there. Could Klopp see him as someone he could mould into a midfielder?
No,
he's 6'4". He's all the technical ability. He's physical. I'm not sure about him off the ball. That's my only issue with him. Off the ball, I'm not too sure of him.
Which is why I think you'll probably put him in the front three.
Yeah.
Because I think you can get away with someone in the front three being
covering zones rather than being
get a little bit lazy until you basically batter it into him. What you have to do off the ball. I think centre mid we can't have a pass during centre mid. I mean, to be honest, we're getting bypassing centre mid a bit too easily anyway. So we don't need that. My thought is I think he's going to try and mould him into a bit like a Sadio Mane type. He could play anywhere across the front three. Yeah. I think that's what he'll want. And I think that's what he's going to do with Diaz. It wouldn't surprise me if next season, when Diaz is fully fit, you see a bit of Diaz as a number 9. That really wouldn't surprise me, because he Gakpo, Diaz, Salah as a front three. And then you bring in someone like a Nunes off the bench.
Yeah,
or a Jota off the bench. Just to give you different options.
Well,
which is what we had. We had the run last year to. I know we only won 2 trophies instead of 4, but for a while we had like 6, 7 options up front, and that's what was winning us games. Well,
Emma Kavanagh says long-term Bobby replacement, and fair play to Emma. He's managed to type that with all the letters in the right places, because the amount of drink he's had today, I'm surprised he can see the keyboard. But he says long-term Bobby replacement, and Garmack follows that up with United fans wanted him through the middle in that kind of false 9 stuff. Whereas when he was linked with Leeds last summer, Leeds were looking at him as a winger for them. You know, because there was rumour over Jack Harrison maybe going and leaving Leeds, and it was all about Gakpo maybe coming in and doing that. So yeah, the big thing that's thrown in for here for me is that he does seem like he's a flexible player where I could absolutely see him playing left side, right side, false nine. I could actually see him playing in the 10, and at a push, if Klopp wanted it with enough time, yeah, I think you could probably see him in the midfield. Now that's not me saying he'd end up in midfield, so we don't sign a Bellingham or an Enzo Fernandez, because I'm 100% signing both of them. Like, I'm 100% behind it. I don't even know how close it is. If it's close, if we're interested, if we made a bid, I don't know, but I'm 100% behind that. You know, but yeah, I just think he's
John
the
was
flexibility
saying,
is the one.
yeah, John was saying United journalists were saying he was to be the Ronaldo replacement. That's what they wanted him for. So it makes
Yes,
sense.
yeah,
I mean, I know it's a stereotype, but also it's a stereotype for a reason, because generally it's true. It is because he's Dutch. The Dutch just seem to be such flexible players anyway. You know, we had the most flexible player in Gini Wijnaldum, so you know, it's not beyond the realms of possibility with his size and physicality that he could become a centre mid. But I feel like he's been bought to be permanently a front three player, and we've got midfield targets. You know, but we are starting to make Liverpool a big side again, which I think actually is probably a good thing, because I think we've needed that sort of physicality. I think we've been overdone a few times. You know, not necessarily set pieces, but I just think sometimes late on, Klopp's commented a few times, why didn't you bring Carvalho on? And his comment has always been, we're worried about set pieces because I think it's West Ham. West Ham were a big side,
yeah,
you know. And we brought on Carvalho and Elliott, and they're quite small, good players, but they're not very big.
yeah.
So again, maybe that he's just adapting to being able to adapt to the league.
What's the option? What's the probability, I suppose, that Liverpool fans out there will find a way to be annoyed at this?
Oh, some are. I've seen some are annoyed who's thinking he's not the player they wanted. Some will say this is the midfielder money being spent. Listen, if we get to the end of the summer,
That's not a bad point, though.
No. If we get to the end of January, we only sign Cody Gakpo. That's not a good thing, you know, because
he's a good signing.
He's a good signing. We need two positions covered, which is then where I'd be like, well, if you're not going to sign one, you'd been better go for Kudus, because he covers two positions.
Yeah,
you know, whereas Gakpo covers two positions across the front three, which is grand. But we do need someone we do need an option in the middle. But listen, look, I know it's upset people. As Caicedo doesn't do it for me, to be honest. He looks decent enough as a defensive mid, but doesn't excite me. But listen, if he works, I'm happy to have egg on my face going, hey, listen, I was wrong with him. But I do think we need somebody in. Because look, Bellingham, if he signs Liverpool, great. Solves a lot of problems. He solves all Liverpool's problems, and you're not going to see him moving anywhere till the summer. I'll be amazed if he moves before.
No. Jude Bellingham isn't going anywhere. I'd stick by it. Wherever Jude Bellingham is going, it's being decided. Because, and I'll say it again, Borussia Dortmund knew at the start of this season that this was his last season. They're not going to. They're not going to. He'll peak out this summer at his value, I think. I know not because I think that's the height of his ability and potential, but the contract situation starts to go downwards. You know, it's not like he's climbing up to 3 years and then he's 3 years to go down. He's 2 years left, I think, after this summer, right? And that's where you peak at your. Once you go below 2 years, people just start going 18 months straight away, right? He won't go anywhere, right? But I think not in January, but I think Jude Bellingham's destination, wherever it is, has already been decided. I can't see Jude Bellingham finishing in May with Borussia Dortmund going, right, where am I off to next? He seems like he's a sort of fella that wants things in place, and he knows what he's up to and he knows where he's going and stuff like that. And Liverpool should absolutely be in that conversation. They've been heavily linked. Klopp has said he's an exceptional player. People have made out that, if he said it, it must be happening. Klopp's told you loads of players around the world are deadly. You know what I mean? Like, and Liverpool have never gone near them.
Could the midfield be option be another Dutchman?
With Frankie de Jong?
Yeah,
Manchester Old Trafford would be on fire if we saw him fucking Frankie de Jong as well.
Well, partly for that, it's brilliant, but I was just thinking of all the nonsense that's going on in Barcelona, because Barcelona, by all accounts, need to sell. Because I think the accounts they got passed to be in Champions League this year was based on them. They budgeted to be in the quarterfinals because that they needed to get to the quarterfinal money to clear to basically be level.
Yes, correct.
Which
Yes.
they haven't.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. Like Garmack is convinced. He said Bellingham deal was done and agreed last summer. Kevin Ball says the Jude deal is done as far as he's concerned. Now listen, it could absolutely be done, but he won't move until the summer. Enzo Fernandez is a different issue because he has a €120 million buyout or £100 million buyout, right? I think it's £106 million or something like that. But supposedly Liverpool made that bid. Come on.
Well, you could see him go to United because there's a rumour he's been linked to United, and we've seen this before with bigger clubs that got hurt by a big deal that happened. Just going, well, we saw it with Tchouaméni. We thought we had Tchouaméni supporting because.
So it could be a case of United getting stung by this and saying, right, fuck it, there's €120 million.
Yeah, bang. Because let's be fair, we wanted Tchouaméni. We thought we had it done. Real Madrid missed out on Mbappe. I had Mbappe money burned hole back. Where fuck it, we'll go for him. We'll get the best centre mid option we can get. Bang, and just blew Liverpool out the water with like a €100 million
or something. Yeah,
€100 million. Bet you went because Liverpool went. We can't pay that. Not for him, or we don't believe we're paying that. We don't want to play that for him.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't surprise me if United.
It wouldn't surprise me if we're sitting here in a week's time and United have agreed a deal for Enzo Fernandez for €120 million because they've just got. But I've spoken to a couple of United fans, right? That I literally they tell her as it is, and they said, lads, they don't have the money. They don't have the money to do that sort of a deal. Like their cash reserves are right down. Their debt that's being reported at 500 million is probably close to double that. There's all sorts going on with United. I don't know how true that is, but I speak to one United fan in particular who doesn't get involved in all the Twitter shit and all. I speak to him away from all of this, and he's like, Gav, you've no idea how fucking much money they pretend to have but don't. It's a bit mad. But if Liverpool have done a Cody Gakpo deal like this, what's to say they haven't done another one? And people might think that's a bit pie in the sky stuff, but we're sitting here where Cody Gakpo's on the verge of signing for Liverpool, and nobody had Cody Gakpo signing for Liverpool. Nobody.
But let's be fair, though.
Because everyone sat there and went, he's off to United.
Yeah, but let's be fair. Since the Van Dijk deal, most of these Liverpool deals, people have got wind of it, or journalists have got wind of it probably max 2 days before it's properly going through. It's not like years ago we'd sit here, you and me, and go, well, we know over 5 players Liverpool going for in the summer. We knew that was like the running joke, wasn't it, who Liverpool going for in the summer? But since Van Dijk, they're getting more or less not quite as undercover as the Gakpo one, but it's definitely, I prefer it that way anyway. But yeah, it'd be nice if we wake up tomorrow and there's a new midfielder coming in as well.
Well, listen, I'm as I said, if you sign Cody Gakpo and you turn around and you go, listen, they've paid or they've agreed a deal in January to take in Enzo Fernandez immediately, whether that's the paying the buyout clause or finding some common ground between €100 million and €120 million, I'm all for it. But everyone will then look to say, well, what are you doing after that? And the thing after that is Jude Bellingham. Like it's got to I've nearly got to the stage where Liverpool should be signing Jude Bellingham. And that's the stage I've got to. There's no, and I know people go the owners and this, and maybe it's a trigger for new owners and stuff like that. That deal for Gakpo today isn't any trigger to say there's new owners coming in. That's a very Liverpool signing at a very Liverpool price, So I don't think it adds fuel to that for her. But I've always said it. If you're doing Jude Bellingham, you do him on a completely separate. You're in a completely separate space to everything else you're doing in your transfer market and your transfer calculations or plans or whatever it might be. He's just different. You know what I mean? It's just a different thing that has to be done, and it's not big picture, it's huge picture with Jude Bellingham, and to a lesser extent, I suppose, with Enzo Fernandez. But the price is on his head. That's the price. We know the price. We don't know the price with Jude Bellingham because there's nothing written in his contract. Let me see. Dermot says, no way we are signing Gakpo unless we have a midfielder lined up. So fairly confident that's something. But that something has to happen in January, Chris. Midfield-wise,
I hope so. I hope so. Because if they don't, it solves one problem, but it still creates. We've still got the big problem that we've all been talking about since the summer. So I just don't see Liverpool leaving it a year to be that bad in one area. I might be proven wrong, but it just, I think the thing that surprised people, I think why people, some negative in social media is, I think everyone assumed the midfield would be through the door first before an attacking option. Now, I just wonder if with the Diaz breaking down, that accelerated the
Something
forward
on
option.
a Gakpo or whatever, yeah. But
Yeah,
the
but
midfield thing is still happening.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think that perhaps went. But we know we can get Gakpo now, so let's do the Gakpo one and then carry on working on the midfield we're working on. That's how you hope it is. But listen, you hope that doesn't mean Diaz's injury is worse than first thought. I'm just hoping it's more that they didn't expect Diaz to break down in pre-season, in the pre-season bit, like he did do, unfortunately.
Yeah. Let me see. I wanted to read a couple of things here. Where am I gone? John Summers asked, when are we laughing at Everton? Any minute now, John. Any minute now.
Always time.
But before we go on to Everton and to a lesser extent Leicester, are you happy with this? Or does it frighten you that we've done it and you think, we know what we need in January, this isn't something? Are you still looking at this as a bonus / backup plan for what with Diaz? Or are you looking at going, yeah, we've covered off an issue there, but the big one over here needs to be done and I'm still nervous over it?
I'm happy with the signing because I think me and Kevin said it. We said it in the watch alongs. I mean, just me and Kevin have been talking about this through all the joys of full-time Reds. Kev convinced me for a while we were a winger light, and I think I agreed with him. So I think it solves a problem that we needed fixing. We've just done it earlier. I am still nervous about a midfielder because if we don't bring a midfielder in, I do think we're giving ourselves an awful lot of work to do. So if we bring a midfielder in and we bring a Gakpo, quite frankly, I'll be like, sound. That should then be enough to give Liverpool a good chance to make a real push for top four. It's helped for Liverpool today. Spurs dropping points, so the gap is down to 5 points with a game in hand.
Yeah.
So already that 5 points over more than half the season feels more attainable than what it was a couple of weeks back. So, we'll have to see how we go from there, I would say.
Yeah, 180 likes, 20 more to go to hit 200 before we stop. So, throw that as we're going to be here for 5 minutes or so. So if you can't get us to 200, it'd be amazing. Let me see. There was a question there. Spencer asks, talking about new owners, any more interest? No, there's nothing out there that's solid. You'll hear Qatar, Dubai, America, Germany. You'll hear all sorts, but there's nothing out there, nothing solid on Liverpool takeover. Whether that's a full takeover, a minority stake, a majority stake, there is nothing out there. And if anything today tells you, if today proves anything to you, right, there is nothing solid until it happens with Liverpool Football Club. Simple as that. We can sit here and speculate. We could sit here and, play up to the masses by pretending to know this and the other. What's the fucking point? We're grown adults talking about football, and I'm not going to come on here and tell you, oh, this is happening, that's happening. We don't know. And if today proves anything to you, in a 40 to 50 million pound signing, right, that Liverpool keep this under wraps and get it done like that, do you think they're just going to go, throwing themselves around the place for a 3 to 4 billion pound deal? They're not.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's nothing out there. Absolutely nothing out there.
There's so many clauses you'll have to sign, like silence clauses where you can't leak too much. Because I'll be honest, you thought the Van Dijk one was bad, but we ended up having to pay 30 million more and had to do a public apology. Fucking hell! If you break one of these confidentiality clauses, A, you'll get sued for it, which is a big lot of money Liverpool have to deal with, and B, the deal will fall through. They're so finely poised, these deals. They'll hear nothing until the key people want you to hear something.
Yeah, and the thing is, Liverpool could do like this deal, Enzo Fernandez in January, a pre-agreement with you, Bellingham, and you're looking going, fuck me, that's 200 plus million quid. That's absolutely an argument to say Liverpool are going to be sold, and this is being done to, protect the value of the club and maybe get a few more quid out of a potential sale. But against that, you could argue the other way. And you could turn around and go, well, all the people that say we want to spend more, they're doing it. So, it's nearly like, if they spend more, I want it to be that there's new owners because I don't really want them to spend more because I've asked for it. It's all a bit mad. And, like, in my opinion, if FSG go out and do this, right, if FSG actually go out and do this, what I've just said, 200 million plus on, say, 3 players, right, I'm delighted because I'm saying, yeah, you've gone that extra step that I think you should do. You've gone that extra step, absolutely fine. But look, it's one of those where if today doesn't prove anything to you, nothing will. And there's just no hope for people what they believe and how they can read some words and from anybody and think this is happening or that's happening. Liverpool don't let anything out. They're very, very, very tight. Let me see. Jonas C says, as a PSV fan, my heart is broken. We had hope he would finish the season, but good luck. He will be a wonderful player for Liverpool, but he has to play from the left. 120 million equals 106 million pounds, says Emma. Yeah, Liverpool apparently approached him at 100 million euros, which is about 92 or 93 million pounds, somewhere, and that's off the top of my head on conversion rate. But look, he's signed. It looks like he's signed. We'll probably have a show in a day or two when it's confirmed and stuff like that. And for the rest of the week, tomorrow is Tuesday, isn't it? We were going to do one of these shows tomorrow, but we brought it forward to tonight, so I don't know if we'll do it tomorrow. Wednesday, me and Chris are going to come back with the history show, where it's Liverpool history this week. So of all this week, we're going to talk about things that have happened. That's on Wednesday night. Thursday night, Liverpool play, don't they? So
that'll be me again.
Yeah, that should be you and Kev for full-time.
Kev's away, isn't he?
Kev's away. It could be Matt if Matt's not drunk. Matt will be on. So it should be Matt and Chris Thursday night. Friday night, we don't know yet because I don't know what way the Premier League stuff's falling, but the lads might do a preview on some games, or if something else comes up, we'll fill Friday night some way. Saturday is New Year's Eve, not going to do anything. Sunday, New Year's Day, probably won't do anything, and then we'll be back into it as normal from Monday the 2nd. So Frank Lampard, Chris. Do you know what? Listen,
fucking mate,
I wanted Liverpool to win today, right? As always, but I so wanted Everton to lose because there was literally like they were bouncing into Boxing Day, and Wolves are home, Wolves are terrible, Wolves are bottom. Everton have had all this time off to get the players together, and not many went to World Cup, and Everton are going to come out like this, and it was a fucking atrocious game of football. Everton were poxy, and then they go and get beaten. Sorry, we're playing Friday. Playing Friday, so the full time Thursday we'll fill in with something. We will see what goes on there. But they were appalling, and they get beaten with a 95th minute winner. My favourite bit was Pickford going to dive, then not diving, falling on the ground, then trying to dive. Ball went in, and if you look behind, just loads of the Blues getting up and just walking, just not saying that, and just getting up and walking out of the ground. No even views, but
I was watching it with me dad. My dad just went. My dad was cooking stuff and he came in and he goes, "Oh, Everton scores it. No, Wolves have scored. It's 2 Wolves." He goes, "Oh, great." And he came back within 10 seconds. He went, "Fuck me, that ground's empty quick, isn't it?"
Yeah, never said anything. They just got up and walked out. But how much do you hope that he had the? You see, I want to see them holding on to him, but I'm craving them turning on Frank Lampard because he got them. He knows all about them. He's come out and said great things. You remember he stood on the wooden bit above the executive box at the end of last season, giving it the big one, like he was Michael Collins or someone out of Braveheart. And then it was just like, I want them to really hold on, but I really want to see them turn on Frank Lampard just to see how they justify it. But beaten again, and the next 3 I think is City away, Brighton at home, United away. That's the next 3.
Well, to be honest, I think they'll keep him on, because if you're going to bring a new manager and you wait till after the United away game before you even give him a
good show.
But
then you could be 18, 19 games in, halfway through, and you could be sitting on 15 points, 16 points.
Yeah, who Wolves got next? Because Wolves are only a point behind them now. That's how big that win was for Wolves. Because at the time you're thinking a draw's not great, but you're sort of going, it's a better point for Everton than it is for Wolves, because it fucking knackers Wolves, because they need to start getting wins. But that win's massive for Wolves. And the bad thing is, it was a pretty atrocious game. But out of 2 sides at 1-1, I only thought Everton were going to win it. They were the only ones I thought would. Yeah,
but Wolves Wolves made changes to bring attackers onto Everton, and Everton didn't.
Oh, sorry, Wolves got an easy game next. They've got a home to United, so fucking no problem.
Okay.
No problem there.
But no, Frank. I'm not torn on this. I'm absolutely fine wherever it goes. If he stays on, it's going to be epic. But if It's not even stays on or goes. It's just I want to see that fan base turn on him because they've spouted so much bullshit about how he gets them and all this sort of stuff. Frank knows this. They've literally waved the dog through the streets to celebrate Frank Lampard's Everton, which is the most amazing thing. Emma says, just a reminder, Kev O'Sullivan called Gakpo on the 17th of November. I did see a tweet earlier saying on the 17th of November, Kev said he wanted Gakpo, and was it Gakpo in the midfielder? I don't know what the midfielder named the midfielder. United game think it's the FA Cup, but the will find themselves in the relegation soon, very quick. It could be an FA Cup game. I just looked up the next three. But
it's the FA Cup, the last one.
No, I've seen a few Everton fans saying like, literally, we're at the stage already where we have to hope that there's three teams not as good as us or worse than us.
Which I don't think there is.
Yeah.
Whereas I think last time there was 4 poor teams. Everton won a week, so it's like, are they the best of the worst? But I'm sort of looking at it going, Wolves on paper should not be where they are. Because actually that squad of players they've got are much better than where they are. They just haven't... They had a horrendous start with the manager they had. I mean, the Everton side actually I don't think should be as low as it is. But the fact somebody just walked out, there wasn't really any boos, there wasn't really much... No, it just like, fuck it. Like a shoulder shrug. I think that's more damning than the boos. Because it's like, what the fuck do you expect?
Fuck this, yeah. And you should expect more bills on Boxing Day because, you know, this is your day. This is your big day, football day at Christmas, and Frank's rounded on you. But like you're saying, they shouldn't be where they are, right? Mopé doesn't score enough goals. Your man Gordon has 7 goals for Everton. They were Chelsea rumored to be wanted to pay 50 to 60 million for him, and he turned it down. Dwight McNeil didn't get a single goal for Burnley last season.
I think that's turned his head though. That Chelsea thing.
But look, come here, turn his head. He scored 7 goals for Everton. And they're treating him like he's some sort of fucking messiah. He'll be the one they turn on, actually, before Frank.
Oh, it's always the local lad they turn on. You know,
well, it's not. It's the fella that is, you know, you're meant to be worth 60 million, and you're not doing it, and it's like, Okay. Well, look, before we go, because we're nearly here an hour at this stage, big shout out to Bren Rodgers and his Leicester Troopers beating 3-0. 3-0? Yeah, 3-0. Home by Newcastle today, who are flying, by the way. But Brendan comes to Anfield on Friday, and as much as I wanted Everton to lose today, I want to destroy them on Friday night. Absolutely destroy them. You really don't like
Brendan, do you? You just hate Brendan, don't you?
I just can't stand them. So I want us to absolutely upend Leicester on Friday night at Anfield, and then on to Brentford in our next game, which will be away. Toffee TV was some crack earlier, says Garmack might go back and have a look. I might go back and have a look. Quiet ground is way worse than crowd bounce, says Ian McLaughlin. Yeah, it's that kind of...
I mean, when you think about it, like the Hodgson, I think when we beat Bolton 2-1, Joe Cole got a late winner. But when you look back at the ground, it's only 3/4 full.
Yeah.
Which is actually more damning than anything. Like, people can't be asked turning up now.
Yeah.
And I think that'll be the word. I think that's where the owners will worry when they're going, well, no one's kicking off. But actually, if they stop turning up, we'll go, fuck, can I be arsed with this? No, can't be arsed with this. That's when. But it's that, also when the away support turn on you, which I think they had the early signs that at Bournemouth. I think when the away support turns on you, that's when you know you're in trouble.
Yeah. I thought I seen some. Was there something? Did something happen after the Everton game with the players as well? I thought I seen some, but maybe it was a clip from another game. But I just seen a tweet earlier and I was like, oh, is there something going on there? Anyway, we've taken up enough of these people's time on the day after Christmas. Thanks a million for everyone for turning on tonight. Thanks for all the likes. Hope you've subscribed if you haven't done already. Like I said, loads to come during this week as it's a patched up week again because of Christmas and New Year. But from next week then, we're into 2023 and it's full steam ahead between now and the end of the season. We're going to bring you as many shows as we possibly can, all on video, all for download. So as I said, like them, subscribe, turn your notifications on. If you're listening on audio download, hit the review button on your app, give us a 5-star review, let us know what you think. And it helps us, it absolutely helps us in bringing the content every week for free to everybody, as we do and as we promise to. So all free, all week, right up until May. So come along, check it out with us, have a drink with us. And we're here for a laugh. We're here for a laugh. We're here to have a good time, whether Liverpool win, lose or draw, and we get us through to the end of the season. Chris, it's been a pleasure. The chat, it's been a pleasure. Liverpool, of course, won today. Everton were beaten. Leicester were beaten. Brent and his mates. And Liverpool look to be on the verge of signing Cody Gakpo. We have got a super chat in from Kieran B, apparently, so I better read that out before. He just sent in €10 from Kieran B. Don't know what that's for, but thanks a million anyway. That's it. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.